In the annals of history, there are names that echo through time, names synonymous with courage, leadership, and unwavering faith. But among them, one warrior's presence on the battlefield was said to be a force of nature itself, a man whose impact transcended mere numbers. The great Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab once declared, "The voice of Al-Khattab ibn Amr Al-Tamimi in an army is better than 1,000 men." This is the story of that man, a legend forged in the crucible of battle, whose spirit became a beacon for an entire generation. Our story begins in the vast, sun-drenched landscapes of Arabia, where the golden sands stretched to meet an endless sky. It was here, among the noble tribe of Banu Tamim, that Al-Khattab ibn Amr Al-Tamimi was born. Known for their resilience, poetry, and fierce independence, the Banu Tamim were a people of the desert, shaped by its harsh beauty and unforgiving nature. From a young age, Al-Khattab was immersed in this world. He learned to read the shifting dunes like a map, to understand the language of the wind, and to ride a horse as if it were an extension of his own body. He was a poet, a horseman, and a warrior in the making. When the light of Islam began to dawn over the Arabian Peninsula, its message of unity, justice, and submission to one God resonated deeply within him. Al-Khattab, alongside his brother Asim, was among the early converts, embracing the new faith with a heart full of conviction. His journey to meet the Prophet Muhammad in Medina was not just a physical one. It was a spiritual awakening that would define the course of his life. In the presence of the Prophet, his natural intelligence and quiet strength did not go unnoticed. He listened, he learned, and he absorbed the principles that would guide his every action. The desert that had raised him had instilled in him patience and fortitude. His newfound faith gave him a purpose greater than himself. This potent combination of desert upbringing and divine guidance began to mold a leader of extraordinary caliber, a man destined for greatness on the world stage. What set Al-Khattab apart was not just his skill with a sword or his mastery of horsemanship. It was his mind. He possessed a rare form of battlefield genius, a strategic awareness that allowed him to see the ebb and flow of combat not as chaos, but as a complex dance he could orchestrate, and flow of combat not as chaos, but as a complex dance he could orchestrate. He understood the psychology of warfare, the critical importance of morale, and the power of a well-timed, decisive action. Leaders are not merely born, they are forged in moments of crisis, and Al-Khattab's innate ability to command respect and inspire confidence drew others to him naturally. His bravery was legendary, yet it was never reckless. It was a calculated courage, born of deep faith and a clear understanding of his objective. He moved with a purpose that was both terrifying to his enemies and profoundly reassuring to his allies. His gaze was said to be as sharp as the edge of his blade, a window into a mind that was always several steps ahead of the conflict unfolding before him. He led from the front, not for glory, but because he believed a leader's place was to share the greatest danger with his men. This was the essence of his character, strength tempered with wisdom, courage guided by intellect, and a loyalty to his faith that was absolute. He was a commander who thought like a strategist and fought like a lion. Shortly after the passing of the Prophet, a storm of rebellion swept across Arabia. These were the wars of apostasy, the Ridda Wars, a critical period that threatened to tear the nascent Islamic state apart. In this hour of desperate need, the Caliph Abu Bakr turned to his most formidable general, the Sword of Allah, Khalid ibn al-Walid. And at Khalid's side, ready to face the storm, stood Al-Khaka ibn Amr Al-Tamimi. This was his first major test on a grand scale, a series of battles that would solidify his reputation as one of the elite commanders of the early Muslim armies. He fought with a ferocity and tactical brilliance that left a lasting impression. In the pivotal battle of Buzaka against the false prophet Tulayha, Al-Khaka was instrumental. He wasn't just a soldier following orders. He was a thinking warrior, contributing to strategy and leading critical charges that broke the enemy's resolve. Khalid ibn al-Walid, a military genius in his own right, quickly recognized the immense value of the young Tamimi commander. He saw in Al-Khaka a kindred spirit, a man who understood that victory was won not just with steel, but with spirit and strategy. Together, they rode at the head of armies that seemed to carry an unstoppable momentum, their banners flowing in the desert wind. Their presence on the battlefield was a symbol of hope and divine favor, raising the morale of their troops while striking fear into the hearts of those who stood against them. The Ridda Wars were a crucible, and from their fires, Al-Khaka emerged not just as a proven warrior, but as a cornerstone of Islamic military might. His legend grew with every campaign. He was a master of deception, a tactician who could turn a dire situation into a stunning victory through sheer ingenuity. One of his most famous tactics involved dividing his forces into smaller groups and having them arrive on the battlefield in waves. To the enemy, it appeared as though endless reinforcements were pouring in, a psychological blow that shattered their morale before the main clash even began. This was not the brute force of a simple warrior. It was the elegant, devastating art of a military maestro. He understood that a battle was fought in the mind as much as it was on the sand. From the deserts of Arabia, his journey took him north, into the heartlands of the two great superpowers of the age, the Byzantine and Sasanian empires. At the Battle of the Chains, in the lands of modern-day Kuwait and Iraq, he was a key figure. Then came the brutal, multi-day engagement at the Battle of Walaya, where Khalid ibn al-Walid executed one of the most brilliant tactical maneuvers in military history, a double envelopment reminiscent of Hannibal's feat at Cannae. And right there, at the heart of this audacious plan, was Al-Khaka, leading a critical cavalry charge that sealed the fate of the Persian army. He was the thunder that followed Khalid's lightning, a perfect synergy of command and execution. His name became a whisper of dread in Persian and Byzantine camps, the warrior from Tamim whose arrival signaled impending doom. As the sun set on countless battlefields, casting long shadows across the fallen, the flicker of campfires would illuminate the weary but resolute faces of the Muslim soldiers. They would speak of Al-Khaka's deeds, his voice cutting through the din of battle, his banner a rallying point in the chaos. They spoke of a man who seemed to be more than just a man, a warrior whose faith gave him the strength of 1,000. His journey had taken him from the quiet oases of his homeland to the front lines of an empire's struggle for survival. He had proven his worth time and again, earning the trust of caliphs and the admiration of his peers. He had become a living legend, But the moment that would define Al-Khaka ibn Omar Al-Tamimi forever, the battle that would etch his name into the very bedrock of history and embody the Caliph's famous words, was yet to come. The greatest test of his courage, his faith, and his tactical genius was still on the horizon, waiting for him in the lands of ancient Mesopotamia, in the heart of the raging Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, where the fate of empires hung in the balance. A dust cloud appeared on the horizon. For 3 days, the Muslim army had fought a relentless Persian force, vast and seemingly unbreakable. But then, the dust cloud drew nearer, not as a single mass, but as a series of smaller ones, arriving one after another. This was not just reinforcement. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare. Leading this charge was a man whose name would echo through history, Al-Khaka ibn Omar Al-Tamimi. He had arrived from Syria, having just secured victory at Yarmouk, now ready to turn the tide once more. Al-Khaka ibn Omar Al-Tamimi understood that battles are won not just with swords, but with minds. He divided his force of 1,000 men into 10 groups of 100. As one group charged onto the battlefield, creating a stir and raising the morale of the weary fighters, another would appear on the horizon. Then another and another. To the beleaguered Persian army, it looked like an endless stream of reinforcements, a fresh, massive army arriving to seal their doom. The illusion was perfect, the timing impeccable. The cheers of the Muslim soldiers grew louder with each new wave, their spirits soaring, while a seed of doubt was planted deep within the hearts of their enemies. It was a brilliant, strategic deception that demonstrated a mind as sharp as any blade. The first day he arrived, known as the Day of Agwath, Al-Khaka ibn Omar Al-Tamimi wasted no time. He rode forward and challenged the Persian commanders to single combat. One by one, the champions of the Persian army fell before him, their defeats echoing through the ranks and shattering the confidence of their soldiers. His presence was electric, a whirlwind of action and courage that inspired everyone around him. He told his men, "Do as I do," and then charged headfirst into the enemy lines, a beacon of unwavering resolve. The Muslim forces, reinvigorated by his leadership and the illusion of overwhelming numbers, pushed back with a ferocity the Persians had not anticipated. The chaos of battle began to shift, the desperate defense turning into a confident, coordinated assault. On the second night, the legendary night of Rumath, Al-Khaka ibn Omar Al-Tamimi conceived another brilliant tactic. Under the cloak of darkness, he sent a portion of his cavalry away from the camp, only to have them return at dawn with great noise and fanfare, once again creating the illusion of fresh reinforcements. But he didn't stop there. Knowing the terror that the Persian war elephants inspired, he devised a clever counter. He had his men disguise their camels with strange coverings and bells. As these strange, monstrous-looking creatures charged towards the Persian lines, the enemy's horses and elephants panicked at the unfamiliar sight and sound. They bolted, trampling their own infantry, throwing the perfectly formed Persian ranks into utter disarray. The tide had not just turned, it had become a flood. The final day of battle arrived, a whirlwind of dust and steel. The Persian army, demoralized and disorganized, began to buckle. Their commander, Rustam, could only watch as his massive force crumbled under the strategic genius and relentless pressure of the Muslim army, led by the indomitable Al-Khaka ibn Amr Al-Tamimi. In a decisive moment, a fierce sandstorm brewed, blinding the Persians and turning the environment itself against them. The Muslim cavalry charged, a wave of steel and faith crashing against a broken wall. The Persian lines shattered completely. The retreat became a rout. The great army of an ancient empire was defeated, its pride scattered across the desert plains. The victory at Al-Qadisiyah was not just a military triumph. It was a testament to faith, strategy, and the courage of one extraordinary man. In the aftermath, as the dust settled and the first light of a new day bathed the quiet battlefield in a soft, golden glow, the scale of the victory became clear. Al-Khaka ibn Amr Al-Tamimi stood not as a conqueror seeking fame or fortune, but as a humble servant of a greater cause. His brilliance was not for personal glory, but for his people and his faith. The Caliph Abu Bakr once said of him, "An army with the likes of Al-Khaka among them will never be defeated." His legacy is not just in the battles he won, but in the way he won them with intelligence, humility, and an unshakable devotion. His impact shaped the course of history, proving that one person's courage and ingenuity can indeed change the world. Some warriors are remembered for their strength, others for their faith. Al-Khaka ibn Amr Al-Tamimi was remembered for both.
Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who love powerful stories from history.